Hi everyone and welcome to my recent game collecting video. Or can I even call this recent anymore because we are already at June and today we are going to take a look at February releases that I have bought. Sure, I already have a bunch of March releases already, but I haven't even tried any of these, so let's not talk about those today and instead let's focus only on February releases. And let's start with Granblue Fantasy Relink, which I got as limited edition with shiny box. But yeah, this has been one of my longest waited game releases because it was announced so many years ago and I wanted like console home console game of Granblue Fantasy. Of course we got the Granblue Fantasy versus fighting game before this one, but yeah, I wanted more like adventure action game as well, and yeah, this was quite fun game to play through. So yeah, those years of waiting weren't for nothing. So it's based on the Granblue Fantasy mobile game. I've never played that, but I've always been interested in the universe of Granblue Fantasy, so I wanted to see it and experience it in more traditional home console game. And yeah, it's really fun and interesting universe. I think the story isn't anything too exciting, but like the environments are so interesting and characters are fun and unique feeling, so it's fun to see the characters interact with each other and so on. And gameplay wise this was quite surprising for me because I had not been like closely following like trailers and such, so it was kind of a surprise to me how, like for example, how the multiplayer system works. I thought it's going to be just like story focused adventure action game, but I feel like the game only starts when you finish the story mode, because after you finish the story the game turns out into something very similar to, like for example, Monster Hunter, in the sense that you have a bunch of these different missions that you can play in like up to 4-player multiplayer mode and start gathering resources and get better equipment for yourself, and after beating a bunch of missions you start unlocking new higher difficulty versions of those missions, and you keep repeating that process of getting new equipment and progressing in the difficulty levels and so on. It's so much like addictive gameplay loop. It's so much fun to go through the missions and feel like how you are getting better at the gameplay and so on. So yeah, that was almost like quite surprising for me because I completely thought it's going to be just the story mode and that's it. But yeah, it was a positive surprise. Of course, only kind of like not necessarily like negative thing is about how much of a time investment the game was, because of course I wanted to like beat all the late game bosses in hardest difficulty and so on, and I think I ended up playing over like 100 hours of the game, and yeah. Maybe at some point I felt like it was a little bit repetitive going through the same missions on different difficulties, but thankfully they have a bunch of unique missions on the highest difficulty, so it felt like a nice reward of going through all the content. So yeah, really long waited home console game for Granblue Fantasy series, and it definitely went over all the expectations that I had for the game. It's really fun. I guess I didn't talk at all about the combat system, but yeah, it's nice because there are so many interesting and unique characters, and they all feel like they are completely unique. They have completely unique playstyle, so if you are getting bored of the of your current character, simply change to another character and it feels like almost completely new game at that point, because they have quite different playstyles in that sense. So yeah, it's really amazing game. So yeah, really fun game. And next we have Persona 3 Reload, which I also got as limited edition, quite huge box for it. And unfortunately I haven't even tried this game yet, but Persona 3, the original PS2 game, was my first game in Persona series that I ever played, and I haven't played it ever since. I've been meaning to like try the Persona 3 Portable, but for some reason I've never found time to go through that. So it's nice to have like a new visual upgrade for the game. Of course, my complaint about the new Reload version is that it doesn't include the female main character option from Persona 3 Portable, but yeah, I suppose that's understandable. But at the same time, I feel like I almost more want to play through the Persona 3 Portable rather than this new Reload version, because I have already experienced the story in this game, so I feel like maybe the Persona 3 Portable would give me more of a new experience in that sense. But at the same time, of course, I am excited for the new upgraded visuals and probably a lot of quality of life upgrades and such in this new Reload version of the game. So yeah, I remember enjoying the game, and it was my first touch in the Persona series and also in Shin Megami Tensei as a whole. I had not played any of Shin Megami Tensei games before Persona 3, and it definitely got me hooked into the series, both Persona and later also into the Megami Tensei games. So yeah, I remember enjoying it, and I'll have to give this a try at some point. Most likely I'll try it when the DLC is released, because yeah, I have that kind of problem that if the game gets DLC later on, I have a really hard time going back to the game and play through the DLC, so at this point I might simply wait for the DLC to be released and play the main game and DLC at the same time. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah. Unfortunately I haven't tried it yet, but I remember enjoying original Persona 3, so I have no doubts I will enjoy that new reload version as well. But next game we have here, Gunvolt Records, Cychronicle was the name. Kind of confusing name. But yeah, this one as well I got as limited edition. And confusing name aside, it's like rhythm game based on the songs from Gunvolt series. So it's the very Mega Man inspired 2D action platformer series that has really nice music in the series, so it was perfect fit for also rhythm game spin-off. The gameplay is rather different compared to most rhythm games that I have played, for main reason being how your main controls are the like shoulder buttons and sticks instead of the usual face buttons and so on. So it feels rather unique playstyle for rhythm game, at least for me. Which is nice, but at the same time it feels like, especially on hardest difficulty, you have to press the shoulder buttons in such a quick rhythm. I feel like shoulder buttons are not suitable for such a quick rhythm, so it feels like it would be simply much easier on playing with face buttons. But yeah, maybe it's simply a matter of getting used to it. Another thing about the highest difficulty is how on the highest difficulty you have to actually use both the shoulder buttons and stick of the same hand at the same time. On the second highest difficulty you have to use like shoulder buttons with one hand and other hand uses the stick. That is enough coordination skill that I have for the second highest difficulty, but the highest difficulty feels like I get confused way too much without a lot of practice, so I've been mainly focusing on the second highest difficulty. I feel like that fits perfectly for my skill level. So yeah, I feel like it includes nice amount of different difficulty levels for different players, so you can play it on easy, or if you are really good at rhythm games, there is challenge for you as well. But yeah, really fun rhythm game if you like the music of Gunvolt series. And one nice thing about the gameplay is how quite many of the songs have like these concert style 3D visuals, like music videos in the background while you are playing, but many of the songs also have like the short clips taken from the games that the music is from, and I feel like that is such a nostalgia trip seeing those clips from the games while playing and remembering the boss fights and such. It's so much fun for me to see the familiar clips from the games while playing this rhythm game. So yeah, all in all, I do like it. Maybe somewhat simple release in the sense that there's not huge amount of tracks, but still it's fun and enjoyable rhythm game. And last game we have here is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. So it's the second part of the Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy. And yeah, originally I wasn't huge fan of the combat system in the first part of the remake trilogy, but after playing through the game second time, I started to get used to it more and ended up enjoying it more. Still, I kind of miss the old turn-based combat style for Final Fantasy games, but at the same time I feel like there's a bunch of JRPGs with turn-based combat systems, so maybe it's acceptable for Final Fantasy to take this completely new style for the combat. So yeah, I've been enjoying the game to some extent. I can see why people are kind of upset how the story feels rather, how should I say, not so faithful for the original Final Fantasy VII, because it starts to get rather confusing in this game. I haven't finished the game yet, I am rather close towards the end I think, but still I'm really confused about some of the scenes with one of the characters that shouldn't be there, I suppose, but still is there, and those scenes are rather confusing, but I am kind of excited to see where the story goes, because yeah, the original story is there still in the original game, so I don't mind them taking like freedom to change parts of the story, because I feel like I'm more excited for getting surprised how the story ends this time and things like that, even if it doesn't feel faithful to the source material. But yeah, gameplay wise, it's more of the same as first part of the trilogy, but I feel like it's way too much more of the same, because I would say I enjoyed the first couple open world sections of the game, but towards end I felt like there's way too much of this very similar and repetitive content, how every single open world section of the game includes those very similar little things that you have to keep doing in every in every open world section, you keep doing those same things over and over again. It feels way too repetitive. Of course, you could simply skip most of that if you don't want to do absolutely everything, but I am that kind of obsessed player to do everything in the game, so I have to. I can't continue the story before I have done all the side content. And yeah, I feel like there's way too much side content in this game. Not only those like side objectives that you have in the open world sections, I think also there's way too many mini games. And while I enjoy, for example, the card game, that is quite fun collecting new cards and optimizing your deck and playing against new opponents and such. I enjoy that minigame quite a lot, but at the same time, for example, the Chocobo racing, while it's fun for first few tracks, when you realize, okay, how many races there are in total, at that point I feel like, oh no, I don't want to play this same minigame so much. So yeah, while I enjoy the story and mostly I enjoy the combat system as well, I feel like it has simply way too much of this side content and minigames. So because of those, I ended up taking a little break from the game. But yeah, I should go back to it and continue so I can see the story and start waiting for the final part of the trilogy. Funny thing about this Japanese release of the game is how they misprinted the labels of the disc. Of course, I tried to install the game from data disk, but console said insert the data disk. I have it already inserted, but yeah, I had to install the game from the play disk and use data disk for playing because yeah, the labels are misprinted. Which is kind of funny, but at the same time also a little bit frustrating to remember always using the wrong disk for playing. So yeah, nice game, but too much content. Especially because this year has been so full of really lengthy games. There's been so many games that take like over 100 hours to complete, and this seems to be another one, so yeah. Maybe if there wasn't so many long games during the first quarter of the year, I wouldn't have minded so much about the length of the side content and so on in this game. But yeah, that's all the February releases that I have here. So, few quite lengthy RPGs and one more simple rhythm game for the between of these lengthy games. So yeah, I guess that's everything for this video. I'm sorry for taking such a long break between videos. I've been meaning to make this video for like maybe couple months already, but for some reason I've been putting it on a side and focusing on other things in my life. But yeah, I am happy that I finally ended up making this video and I can't wait for you to see it. But unfortunately, I'll probably have another break right after this one because most of the June I'll be visiting my relatives and enjoying summer in the countryside. So yeah, hopefully I'll return home at the end of June and start planning for the next video. But yeah, unfortunately another little break coming up. Sorry for that. I hope you don't mind too much. I'm not quitting the videos or anything. I still enjoy recording these quite a lot. So I won't be stopping making these. No worries. But yeah, I guess that's all. Thanks for watching and bye.